Hello student, this is our second lecture. In this second lecture, we have to get idea about remaining our syllabus of a paper second plant physiology. Friends, we know that this paper having credit 3s and number of lectures are 48. In the last lecture, we have got idea about total 3 units, and out of now we will get idea about credit second, which carries a 17 lecture. In this unit second, there is a very interesting topic, that is ascent of sap. Actually, in this topic, we have to get idea about the what is actually the sap. Ascent means no doubt that is a upward movement of a the water containing mineral nutrients. So, in this topic, ascent of sap, we have to get idea about there are many theories put forth by a different scientist that we have to learn under this topic. My friends, we have to get idea about again some physical forces which are responsible for the absorption of water by the plants itself. Out of that, most accepted theory, that was capillary theory and imbibitional theory. We have to get idea about that one, how these theories have given some supporting conclusions to the scientific world just to accept by the various scientists. Means according to them, the capillary force is responsible for upward movement of a water in the plant itself. Another most accepted theory by the scientific world regarding the ascent of sap, that is imbibitional theory. We have to get idea about that one. Again, another theory, third one, that is a atmospheric pressure theory. So we know that plants are growing, but that plants again always affected by the atmospheric pressure. How that atmospheric pressure is responsible for the upward movement of water, that also we have to get idea under this ascent of sap topic. Actually, this topic, this unit, I have to say that carries a 5 lecture. The transpiration pull theory is also responsible for again the ascent of sap. Friends, very interesting, and which I most love the topic of plant physiology from your syllabus, that is a transpiration. This transpiration topic carries total 7 lectures. In that one, we have to get idea about the definition of a transpiration, then types of transpiration, which category, on the basis of what there are these 3 types of a transpiration are there. For example, cuticular transpiration, lenticular, and stomatal. So that also we have to learn under this fifth, I have to say that the topic from unit second. Now in that one, while learning this most important physiological process which occurs in the plant, through which actually this process took place, that is of a transpiration, that is through the specific structure that is known as a stomata. And we have to learn about the structure of stomata and how that structure helps in the transpiration process to the plant, that also we have to learn. Again, as already we have seen, or after seeing the structure of stomata, it is a very important to see how the mechanism of stomata responsible for transpiration of a water in the form of a water vapors in the atmosphere, that we have to learn. So mechanism of opening and closing of stomata, very interesting. That is a steward is the name of scientist who has put forth the hypothesis, and according to that hypothesis the opening and closing of a stomata takes place. Another hypothesis put forth by the scientist, that is of an active K plus ion transport mechanism. Friends, along with that one, in this topic 5, we have to get idea about the most important factors which are affecting the rate of transpiration. Before that one, I would like to give you idea about the definition of a transpiration. My friends, transpiration is a physiological process in which actually loss of water takes place from the aerial plants of plant body in the form of water vapors. So actually very interesting thing is that there is a loss of water, but in which form? In the form of a vapors, where that is loss actually in the atmosphere through aerial parts of plant body. So we have to divide the actually definition of that transpiration into three parts, and then we will get idea about the process of transpiration first of all, and then we will get a very interesting idea about remaining points very easily. Now this process is affected by many factors, and that affects actually the rate of transpiration. One example I will give to you, and then we will go ahead to learn in detail about that one when we will learn this transpiration, my most favorite topic, in detail. Actually keep in mind, suppose temperature is the one of the factor which is affected on the process of a transpiration. So you might have got idea, or you may can again little bit understand that the transpiration rate is maximum in the summer season because there is a high temperature as compared to winter and rainy season. So a rate of transpiration affects on the rate of a transpiration is affected by the many such a type of atmospheric factors also, that one I have explained it. Remaining that we will see when we will get idea about this transpiration topic in the detail. Now the friends, what is the significance of the transpiration process? I will give you idea only one of the significance of this transpiration process which occurs in the life of plant. Friends, already I have told you, in the summer season there is a high temperature, there is a scorching of a sun, and in such a type of a hot condition plants are there, they never move from one place to another place, they are tolerating high temperature. But how? With the help of a transpiration process. Means this transpiration process, physiological process, helps plant to tolerate the high temperature. How? By maintaining this temperature in the plant body itself. So very interesting things, many such a type of a significance of transpiration are there, that we will learn in the detail when we this topic will learn. Now the anti-transpirants, the substances, chemicals which reduces the rate of transpiration are known as a anti-transpirant. Why we have to get idea of the anti-transpirant? I will tell you my friends, to increase the yield of plant, these anti-transpirants can be used. So in detail, now another most important process, that is of a guttation, exudation. Now guttation, there is also loss of water, but in the form of a liquid. But in case of transpiration process, there is also loss of a water, but in the form of a vapors, my friends. Keep in mind. So exudation means some cell sap is given out of by the plant body, that is known as a exudation. My friend, sixth most important topic that we have to learn in your this total semester course of plant physiology, that is a seed dormancy and germination. My friends, we have to learn under this one what is dormancy, which factors are causing the seed dormancy, again the artificial methods which are used to break the seed dormancy, and which type of metabolic changes taking place during the seed germination. My friends, again we have to learn credit third, which carries a 16 lectures. From that, unit third, seventh topic, plant growth and plant growth regulators. How the growth of plant takes place, how to measure the growth of plant, which instruments, which measuring instruments are discovered by the scientists, like the arc oxynometer, Bose crystallograph, fresh and dry weight method. Again, there are some atmospheric factor. We will say that the factors which are affecting on the growth. Now, the scientists have idea about the plant growth regulators. Why to learn that plant growth regulators? Synthetic plant growth regulators are there. Why to use that one? I will give you one example, my friends. Very interesting. This plant physiology is a very interesting. In day to day our life also we are uh, following these processes. For example, I will tell you ethylene. Ethylene is used for the ripening of a fruit. So, my friends, with this example, you might have come to know that how that plant physiology syllabus and plant physiology will help to the human being in their life. Now, the last topic, but very important, that is the physiology of flowering. How the actually flower develops in the plant, how the vegetative growth converts into the reproductive growth of the plants, that we have to learn, and which factors are responsible just to convert vegetative condition into reproductive condition of a plant. So that is most important, that is a photoperiod. That's why we have to learn photoperiodism. Again, we have to learn phytohormones which are responsible for the initiation of flowering. Now, what are the applications? Why we have to learn this process of a photoperiodism? Are there any applications of this learning of photoperiodism in our life? Another we have to learn, that is a vernalization. Vernalization is nothing but such a type of a condition, low temperature condition, which is required for the initiation of a flowering in some plants, that is known as a vernalization. Again, we have to get idea about devernalization. So friend, thank you with this.